Hello, I'm John Dewey from Classical Historian, here to talk about Labor Day. Labor Day is celebrated on the first Monday of September. It is a holiday in honor of the workers of the United States of America. In the 1880s, various states and cities began to celebrate workers with parades. Labor Day is typically a celebration of the average city worker and was the culmination of a growing labor movement in American cities. It marked the end of a chiefly agrarian society in America and the beginning of a modern one. In 1894, President Grover Cleveland signed the Labor Day legislation into law. Contrary to Europe, celebration of the worker in America has primarily supported the free market and has not been a call for socialism. This fact has its roots in Labor Day. It is challenging to remember life in the United States before the era of industrialization. 90% of Americans grew up and worked on farms before the second half of the 19th century, and up to World War II, most Americans were farmers. Life on a farm is often falsely glamorized with romantic visions of beautiful sunsets, sweet smelling grass and corn, and quiet and peace. In reality, the workday for the typical farmhand in pre-industrial America was tough and often unpleasant. My dad, my personal hero, grew up in 1930s and 1940s Minnesota, a true Depression baby farm boy. Starting at the age of 12 until he reached adulthood, he was hired out to a local family each summer to work on their farm. His experience was similar to most boys growing up in farm country America. He lived in the family's basement Monday through Saturday. He awoke before dawn to feed the animals, clean the stalls, and continued to work throughout the day as long as the sun was up. He did all the work a man would do, from driving tractors to repairing anything that would break. And his workday was over 12 hours a day. When my dad earned $1 a day, it was big money. He was able to use his summer earnings to pay for his school clothes, any books, and extra money throughout the school year. He was, in many ways, financially independent as a teenager. When American society changed from an agrarian society to an industrial one, families faced great challenges, both socially and economically. Whereas before, the family who owned a farm would work all together, in a city, family members worked in different locations. Where most family farms were independently owned in the 1700s and 1800s, workers in cities didn't own the businesses they worked in. And because America was such a huge attraction to foreigners, city life offered a constantly changing society. In 1800s America, life for a factory worker was challenging. Workers had little or no rights. Factories could be physically dangerous, and an evil business owner could get away with horrible acts. Workers could be killed by working in dangerous factories, or they could lose limbs and then be fired from their jobs. Still, the American worker did better than other workers of the world. If this were not so, the USA would not have been the destination of so many millions of immigrants. The opportunity of America overrode the hardships of life when it came to where people wanted to live. Industrializing America lifted tens of millions out of poverty. Because of the harsh work conditions, labor leaders sought to gather workers into unions in order to bargain for worker rights. Initially, in the United States and elsewhere, there was great opposition to worker rights, both by the government and by business owners. Those in power feared that the workers would take away the power, rights, and property of the business owners. In Russia in 1917, a workers' party called the Communists did take away the property of individuals and went on to be responsible for the murder of tens of millions of Russians who opposed them. In the United States of America, however, the labor movement focused on making the lives of workers better by pushing for an 8-hour workday, safer work conditions, and demanding fair treatment of all workers in every situation. In 1894, railway workers in the American Railway Union demanded better work conditions and went on strike against the Pullman Company. During the strike, the U.S. government attempted to crush the strike, as did other workers' unions. There was violence, and workers died at the hands of government employees. This strike helped Americans realize that working conditions needed to drastically change for factory workers. President Cleveland and the U.S. Congress initially opposed the strike, but later realized that the workers' demands were reasonable. The Pullman Company was forced to change in favor of the workers. In 1894, the U.S. government passed a law declaring the first Monday of September a national holiday to honor workers. Today, this holiday is also celebrated as a seasonal event, with families marking it as the end of summer and beginning of fall. The major labor movements in America remained true to the principles of liberty and respect for private property. Samuel Gompers founded the American Federation of Labor in the 1880s, one of the country's largest and most important labor unions. As a labor leader, he strongly opposed socialism and helped the American worker enjoy a quality standard of living without threatening the rights of property owners. I'm John Degree from Classical Historian. Thank you for joining me. See you next time.